then perish.
Then perish.
I can see again. I can see again. See, there's nothing wrong with using magic.
You were blind just now? Okay, good. I was confused.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, it's your boy Connor. And we're back with Brassica, Act 2. The next day, the princess awoke from an unsteady slumber on uncomfortable ground. At least the rain had stopped, but their bodies ached all over. It took Saffron a moment before he once again realized the situation he was in. Waking up in a forest next to another prince certainly wasn't how his day ordinarily started. The three princes peeled themselves off their makeshift bed and silently looked at each other. A growling stomach eventually broke the silence. You didn't, by chance, take some of the food rations before the bandits robbed us? If I did, I would most certainly be eating them right now, Prince Ode. I don't have anything either. Well, it was worth a try.
So, what do we do now?
I'm afraid all we can do is hunt. But before we do, we should find some water. Good idea. I'm really thirsty. Welcome to my world. You fucking horny, thirsty motherfucker. The princes began walking in search of a river, a lake, or at the very least a stream. It didn't take long before they lost track of where they were. Guys, please don't go missing. But then again, after last night's escape, they were hopelessly lost anyway. Eventually, the forest cleared, and beyond the trees, they could see the shore of a majestic lake. Overjoyed, the princes ran towards the water to still their thirst. Water! Maybe luck is on our side after all. Well, I'm not sure I'd consider us lucky. Just look at us. Our clothes are covered in filth, but I'll surely not complain that we won't die of thirst in a foreign land. No, we only need to hunt some food and find our way out of this forest. Easier said than done, without a map or even a compass, but let's solve one problem at a time. How about we split up the task? Hunting is the first step, but we also need some firewood. I'll collect firewood. Oh, so quick to answer. Don't like hunting, huh? No, I don't like it. Well, fine by me. I don't mind getting my hands dirty when there's meat involved. Okay, please guys, stop being thirsty. Calm down. What are you going to do, Prince Saffron? I'm hunting too. I'll search for firewood. Please, just take me away from Hans. He's too horny for me. I'll search for firewood. I don't like hunting either. Yeah, that's also true. I'm vegetarian, so... Great, then we'll be able to carry more wood. Let's go, Prince Saffron. I suggest we meet back here at noon. As hungry as you may be, we should not forget that we need to get out of the forest too. That sounds good to me. Yes, I agree. All right, then until noon, gentlemen. Saffron and Ode walked deeper into the forest again. They spent several minutes looking for wood, but the selection was sparse. At this rate, we won't find much usable wood. There's hardly any that isn't soaked from last night's rain. Is there a reason you don't like hunting? I thought most royals enjoyed it for sport. Oh, I just don't like killing animals. My father took me hunting when I was a kid, and their screams of terror haunted me for months. I honestly didn't know how my father or my siblings could bear it. I'd rather just live alongside the animals than kill them. How about you, Prince Saffron? I'm not very good with blood or violence. And for most of my life, my parents raised me as a vegetarian. Yeah, vegetarian, let's go! Until the dragons awoke and all of our favorite vegetables went extinct. Okay, law drop. Yeah, I remember when that happened. It's been years since I last ate broccoli. I actually kind of miss it. Ah, there's some dry wood. Yes, nice find, Prince Saffron. We still don't have much, but I think this could be enough for a small fire. Let's head back. I don't think we'll find much more usable firewood here. But I must say, this forest is strangely quiet. I've been hoping to listen to the bird song of this land, but I heard not a single note. Not even the foxes said a word. It's somewhat unsettling, like walking through a deserted town in broad daylight. What am I going to tell Friedrich? He asked me to tell him stories of the critters of this land. Is he a friend? Is he a brother? Is he important to you? Is he important to you? Is Friedrich important to you? Yes, very. Friedrich is one of those in this world who are most precious to me. He's our dog! Oh. Wait, what? You said he asked you to tell him stories from here. Is that not normal for the other kingdom? Well, then again, I suppose it's not normal in Bara either. I bet you don't believe me, but I could always hear the voices of animals. Ooh, magic powers. And not just like others. I can hear the meanings behind them. The princes returned to the lake, and once everyone was back, they shared their findings. And their meager haul.
So in short, we only have a handful of firewood and there are no animals to hunt.
Seems this way. I'm glad you found out that the animals are actually gone. I knew there was something strange about the forest being so quiet. What do we do now?
Well, there's still the lake. Maybe we could catch some fish?
If we have to.
You don't like fish?
No, that's not it. They're just kind of hard to follow.
Well, I'll fish too, so don't worry about your fine motor skills.
That's not what I... Actually, whatever. How are we gonna do this, though? We have neither nets nor fishing rods.
Well, I don't know how you intend to catch fish, but I'll just use my hands.
You plan to catch fish with your bare hands?
Of course not. I'm not a fool. I'll use my magic to lure a fish right into my grip.
Magic? I thought magic was too dangerous for anyone to control.
It's not dangerous if you know how to use it. Back in the Dom, using magic is as much of a part of daily life as brushing your teeth.
But I heard bad things happen when you use magic.
Sure, there are some side effects, but it is simply a matter of balance in risk and gain.
Ha! I can see again. I can see again.
See, there's nothing wrong with using magic.
You were blind just now? Okay, good. I was confused.
Yes? Just how did you get back here?
Okay, no, this is creeping me out. I'll stay far away from your magic and fish over there.
Don't think I'll mind. At least you won't scare away my fish then. But enough about me. How are you planning to fish, Prince Ode? Punch them to death?
Can I borrow your dagger?
Heavens no! It's a one-of-a-kind weapon, forged from a vanadium alloy and silver. I won't let you have it to splash around in this lake. Use your sword.
That's not what I wanted for. I just want to carve a spear.
Oh. Well, I'm not thrilled that my dagger is going to be abused as a whittle. But I suppose this is for the greater good.
Reluctantly, Hans handed over his dagger to Ode, who grabbed the large branch to sharpen.
Now then, Prince Saffron, I suppose that leaves you on fire duty. Okay with you? Oh, sure. Back at home I barely managed to catch fish, even with a fishing rod.
Saffron didn't want to admit that he had never successfully made a fire either. But he was sure he'd somehow manage if he just tried hard enough. Ready to catch their breakfast, the other princes took off their boots and walked to the shore. Ooh, sexy.
Why do you have plants on your arms, Hans? Why are your pants already wet?
After reaching the water, they rolled up their pants and took off their shirts. And finally waded into the lake, approximately 10 meters apart from each other because they're not gay. Wanting to join in on this summerly atmosphere, Saffron too took off most of his clothing. For no specific reason, he just didn't want to be left out. Okay. Although it remained questionable whether this was the wisest idea given his task. Once he had changed, Saffron started to gather the wood he and Ode had brought back. He piled it up on the beach sand to the best of his abilities. even though he wasn't sure if that was the best ground to start a fire on. Once the easy part was done, Saffron stared at the wood. How was he supposed to light it now? It would only take a second with Hans' magic, but Saffron didn't want to ask for help. Since Hans and Ode were passionately trying to catch some fish, Saffron surely didn't want to interrupt them. His attention was wavered, and he found himself looking at the other princes more and more. Look at Hans, look at Ode, concentrate. I'm already going for Ode, so I can just continue. Prince Saffron looked at Ode. Time after time, he thrust his improvised spear into the water. If anything, it looked exhausting. And maybe he would have been more successful if he waited a bit more in between tries. Eventually, Ode seemed to have noticed this too. He turned more observant and waited for the right moment to try and impale his prey. His success rate was still less than stellar, but occasionally he seemed to land a hit. Saffron could tell because every now and then Ode's movement stopped. And he raised his spear, muttering a quiet apology. Aww. Once he had caught more fish than he could easily hold, he returned to the shore. Ode dropped the fish in front of Saffron and looked at him with a pained expression. I'll just take a break real quick, Prince said before slowly walking to the edge of the forest. Oh, sweetheart. I'm not even gonna look at Hans, I'm just gonna concentrate on the fire. Prince Saffron decided to return to his current task at hand. He had distracted himself long enough, and they needed a fire if they wanted to eat. Saffron had read that quickly spinning a stick could cause enough friction to lighten a fire, but he felt like that was not all there was to it. Since the pile of wood itself would certainly not withstand such a motion, Saffron took a smaller log of wood and placed a stick on top of it, determined to set it aflame. He had no idea about the exact technique, but Saffron still did his best. His palms ran hot and the wood hurt his skin, but he could feel some heat from the log. Minutes passed and the fatigue made his arms heavy. But eventually, Saffron thought that he could see smoke rising from the wood. Nothing more happened though. Exhausted, he took a break and rethought his approach. He needs some tinder. That's my only choice, he needs some tinder. Okay, get some tinder. Oh yes, I was just getting to that. You see, the key is to find a good way to make Saffron realize what he needs. Good stories need time, so just lay back and watch it unfold. What? You don't think this is an important enough point to hold up the story? Alright. I'll think of something. A nest of tinder, Prince Saffron. A mysterious voice whispered into the prince's consciousness. You need a tinder nest, it repeated. Confused by its origin, but excited by the flash of inspiration, Saffron jumped up. He gathered dry grass and hay lying about and repeated the procedure from before. This time with a tinder nest to catch the spark. Soon the prince held a tiny fire in his hands. He placed it down on the fireplace and carefully fed it wood until it grew in size. When his companions returned with their aquatic booty, a sizable fire was already burning. Well done, Prince Saffron. I see I was right to trust you with this job. Yeah, looks like we'll actually get to eat now. Excited about the prospect of food, the princes gathered around the fire. Since he had his dagger, Hans was tasked with preparing the fish, although he was not exactly happy about having to degrade it to a butcher's knife. Ode and Saffron grilled the fish, and even though most ended up burned or unevenly cooked, the princes still felt like this meal was at least on par with the feasts they were used to. In the early afternoon, after having eaten their fill, they decided to pack up and leave the forest, because now they had to figure out which way they had to go to reach their destination. But let's take a break real quick. Our princes are starting to get some control over the situation again, don't you think? Well, don't worry, this journey will be far from a cakewalk. The next part will be exciting. I prepared all kinds of ways for the princes to use their strengths. So, what would you like to see? I'll ask again when it gets important. I'm just gauging the general interest here. I want to see more Fawn's magic. They should ride on a bear? Saffron should be a bit more useful for once. No, we should ride on a bear. Bear, you say? Alright, that's a little unconventional, but I'll keep it in mind. I have to agree that it sounds exciting, though. Now, enough of that. Let's continue. The princes lost no time. Soon after finishing their meal, they got dressed, packed what few belongings they still had, and headed out into the forest again.
So, my princess, we have successfully entered the forest, but it doesn't quite change that we're still lost. On the contrary, we can hardly even make out the midday sun from here. First of all, we should figure out which direction we have to go in. If only we had a compass. Can't we still look at the sun for directions? We could, but we don't have much room for error if we want to escape this forest before dusk. I'd rather use a more reliable method.
Why don't we just ask for the way? Who?
Ask? And just who do you intend to ask, dear Oat?
Well, sooner or later we're bound to come across some animals, right? Oh yeah, you can talk to animals.
You don't seriously suggest we ask wild beasts for directions? Besides, have you forgotten that there are no animals around?
I'm sure they come back. They know this forest better than anyone.
But gosh, I'm afraid you must have been hit by heat stroke. You're not making any sense. No, he's serious. What can talk to animals? Excuse me, not you too, Prince Saffron.
Well, why don't you just tell me how you intend to get out this forest then? You must have a great plan if you're just shooting down ideas.
I do, in fact. Have a much more sensible plan. I'll produce us a compass.
Are you trying to kill us? Conjuring is the most dangerous of all magic forms. I refuse to die for some petty tool.
Then perish.
Then perish.
In this forest, all by yourself. Because I will leave, whether you come along or not. Not to mention, an amateur shouldn't try to berate a master in his field of expertise.
Then what exactly is the master's plan?
Of course, I won't conjure a fully functional compass. I'll just make one.
What?
Transmutation is a lot safer than conjuring. Only need a needle and we're good to go.
So what exactly makes it safer?
I could spend all day trying to explain it to you. Just trust me this once.
Fine, but I still don't like it. Do you have another idea, Prince Saffron? Just in case.
Why don't we just climb a tree and take a look at our surroundings? We're headed for the mountains, so it should be easy enough to see where we have to go. Well, it does sound reasonable and simple.
Yeah, but which plan do we follow now?
Well, there are only two viable options, and I'm not about to climb a tree.
Funny, I was just about to say how I'm not gonna trust some iffy magic compass.
Well, Prince Saffron, you do us the honors again. As much as I hate to admit it, we're never going to come to an agreement otherwise.
Yeah, what do you think is the best plan to get out of this forest? Just honestly think my plan is the best.
I think my idea is the best.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, sounds good. At least there won't be any unpleasant surprises with this plan.
Then let's get on with it. I don't want to be stuck in this forest any longer than necessary.
Alright, so who's going to climb the tree?
I already said I wouldn't do this.
I mean, I could, but these branches look awfully flimsy.
You're sure you're not just afraid of heights?
Shut up, I'm not afraid of heights. I just don't want to fall.
Well, I do have to admit you give off more of a canine bearishness than a feline grace.
What are you even talking about now?
My princess, I can see the mountain. I can see Mount Brassica.
Prince Saffron, when did you climb up the tree?
I think we just go in that direction. We should get off the forest pretty soon.
Really? That's great. Then just come down and we can get going. Yeah, that's the problem. Coming down.
Oh no, don't tell me he is afraid of heights. I'm not. The tree just didn't quite look this tall from the ground.
Well, we have to get you down from there somehow. I could climb up and help you if you want.
No, no, no. With your luck, you'll be stuck there too, and I'll have to rescue the both of you.
I'm not that clumsy.
Why don't I just stay up here? Quit talking nonsense, Prince Saffron. We can't just leave you in the forest. No, that's not what I meant. The trees grow pretty close to each other. I think I can just jump from one to the next. And how is this less scary than simply climbing down?
Yeah, I don't like that. One misstep and you'll break your neck, Prince Saffron.
Just climb down. I promise we'll catch you if you fall.
Prince Saffron carefully considered his options.
Really? Then can I just jump down and you catch me from the get-go? I genuinely don't understand the criteria by which he decides what is scary and what isn't.
Sure, we'll catch you. Just come down so we can get out of this forest.
But who will catch him? We can't just move in both at once.
Oh, come on, not now. Let's just decide and get this over with.
Do you trust this Hulk to catch you safely, Prince Saffron?
Yes, I do.
I'll tell you, my magic arms will be much gentler.
Yeah, before they turn us all to ash.
That's not how magic works. Read a book before you spread your fear-mongering nonsense.
Well, I wouldn't trust those feeble arms of his to catch you, magic or not. You need enough strength to cushion the impact of such a jump.
Why don't we let Saffron decide? It's his neck that's on the line here.
Fine by me. So, whose arms do you want to jump in, Prince Saffron? Oh, it's... I'm not even sorry, Hans. I'm sorry, not sorry.
I'll trust Ode.
What did I say? Strength is reassuring. Prince Ode triumphantly flexed his arms.
Well, maybe to simpletons. Make sure you don't break his neck by accident.
Of course I won't break his neck. What do you take me for? And now move aside. I have to catch Prince Saffron. Prince Ode confidently walked up to the tree and got into position. His stance looked equally balanced and firm. Reassuring, as Saffron thought. Alright, Prince Saffron, ready when you are. Saffron moved to the edge of the branch he was on, trying hard to ignore his nervousness. He looked down at Ode and jumped after just a moment of hesitation.
Oh, so cute!
The fall was over surprisingly quickly, and Saffron found himself in the arms of Prince Ode. Cuties. Safe and sound, his heart beating rapidly. In part because Ode still held him close. And Saffron could feel how strong the prince from Bara was. His muscular arms, his well-defined chest, the firm but gentle grip of his hands, and the comforting warmth of his body. Are you alright, Prince Saffron? He asked as their eyes met. Saffron only nodded and gave Ode a grateful smile, for the other put him back down.
Would you look at that? You actually did it. I thought for sure you'd fall over, or at least hurt your back.
Prince Ode smiled wryly as he let go of Saffron. The two princes separated, and Ode slowly turned around. What are you talking about? I would never hurt my back so easily. You hurt your back, didn't you? I'm so sorry. Far slower than normal, Ode straightened his posture. And it didn't escape Prince Hans's gaze.
Whatever you say, Prince Ode.
A knowing smile crept onto Prince Hans's face.
Should we go then?
Prince Hans said, and heartily slapped Ode on the back, causing a stifled yelp in the process. You asshole.
Or do you need a break?
No, what are you talking about? Let's just go.
Well, don't blame me if your pride is going to be your downfall one day.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you're going to play a much greater part in it than my pride. Ode said through clenched teeth as he tried to make his movements look effortless. The three princes started walking the direction that Saffron led them towards. All three of them were fully focused on making sure they'd stay on the right path. But ultimately, there was no way for them to tell if they actually did. Well, a few times Saffron offered to climb up another tree to check, but Had his offer quickly denied. We did it. As the sky turned darker, the forest cleared and the princes found themselves at a river. This is surely the limit, they happily proclaimed as they searched for a way to cross it. First, they wondered whether to walk upstream or downstream. Well, as the clock was still ticking, they decided to continue south, towards the mountain. So downstream it was. It only took them hold on 1 second. It only took... Can't believe this is happening right now. Oh no, the set is broken. I'm sorry, I've never had a problem with one of the backdrops before. Scene builder! Richard Stark, please do something. Boy, this is embarrassing. Ooh. Oh, you like theater. I love it. The wet can transport you into different worlds. I was already captivated when I was little. And my love for it only deepened when I first stepped onto the stage myself. Oh well, behind it. There's something truly special about the connection between actor and audience. You can't really take that outside of the theater hall. Don't feel like you have to reply, I'm just trying to bridge the gap until the bridge is fixed. Get it? Bridge the gap. It's funny because it's a bridge and... there we go! Thank goodness. No, where were we? It only took them a short while to find a bridge, and beyond it, a small road.
Let's hope this road will lead us to the village. Or an inn. Maybe a real one for a change. I have warm blankets. As long as it's dry, I don't mind any kind of shelter. I have low expectations. As long as it's dry, I don't mind any kind of shelter. Sounds like you're getting used to this, Prince Saffron. I'd prefer a nice bath of willing beauty or two.
Stop being horny! Let's just focus on the path, okay? At least it seems to bring us closer to the mountains. Let's go as far as we can before we have to set up camp. We're in a forest again! And so they went on, before eventually coming across another person on this lonely road.
Holy shit, a person.
Wait, do you see that?
See what?
There's someone there. What if it's another bandit? It looks like they're pulling a handcart. What bandit would do that?
One who's prepared.
How else would they carry their loot? Even if it is a bandit, they have the advantage of numbers this time.
Are you sure it's not just a merchant?
It could very well be. Let's hope that's the case. That way we can buy more rations. Feeling less insecure about the stranger ahead of them, the princes moved forward. And as it turned out, it was indeed a traveling merchant.
Excuse me, sir. Would you mind letting us take a look at your wares?
Oh my, how tragic. I just packed up for one day. I'm afraid there's not much to look at.
Are you sure? You know we can pay you handsomely.
But how? The bandits stole all our money.
You may be unable to appreciate fashion, but I have enough jewelry to buy rations for months. See, just this ring in my hair should be enough for this whole journey.
Prince Hans removed the ring and held it out in front of him, as if to entice the merchant. Just as the latter widened his eyes at the sight, the ring disappeared into thin air. Four sets of eyes stared at Prince Hans's empty hand in disbelief. I didn't know your magic included magic tricks.
It doesn't. This is a horrible coincidence.
Huh? Weren't you the one who told me that the risks of magic aren't random? Don't tell me you lied.
He didn't. This is probably just because...
Prince Hans mumbled as if he didn't want to say out loud what led to the loss of his ring. Speak clearly, I can't hear what you're saying.
Well, I may or may not have cursed those bandits last night.
You did what? Serves them right.
Cursed? Cursed?
Saffron stuttered and, utterly terrified, the merchant joined in with his own stammering.
Are you a witch?
Of course not. I'm a mage.
Stay away from me! I have nothing of value.
The merchant shouted and took off as fast as his legs could carry him. I'm not even sure if I want you to explain all this cursed stuff.
That cost us our best chance to get some food. I just sent some bad luck their way, that's all.
And now it came back to bite us. Suppose we'll have to hunt our meal again tonight.
Seems that way.
Looks like there are a lot of mushrooms in the area. I'll go pick some.
Still trying to dodge getting your hands dirty?
That's not why I'm doing this. Just hunt as a hare or whatever.
Can I get a please?
Just do it. You're hungry too, aren't you?
I still haven't heard you say it. Please, Prince Hans. See, you could learn a thing or two from Prince Saffron here.
Alright, please, hunt so we can eat something tonight, Prince Hans.
Well, if you insist.
Oh, I can deal with you on an empty stomach. Prince Saffron, would you mind getting firewood? We should do that before it gets dark.
Of course. Alright, let's make haste, my princess. Let's meet up again before the sun has set.
The three princes agreed and went their separate ways. By the time it got dark, they reconvened, where they had split up and shared their findings. Prince Hans had managed to hunt a pheasant, and Oat brought back an armful of mushrooms. Saffron carried as much firewood as he could hold in his arms, and so the princes searched for a place to set up camp. It took the three of them a short while of searching. Ooh, we are at Reflection Lake. Sounds mysterious. But at nightfall, they found themselves close to a lake in front of a wooden hut. It looked old and abandoned. Just to be safe, they knocked on the wood, waited for a reply. Hello? Is anybody home?
Let's just go inside. I've had enough of this wilderness. But what if there's someone in there? Then they'll be able to tell the tale of the day 3 princes showed up at their doorstep. Maybe their hospitality will even earn them a statue or two in one of our kingdoms.
And with that, Prince Hans stormed into a hut to find nothing. Well, it's better than sleeping outside. Totally new scenery, like nothing the princess had ever seen before, especially not on this journey. The hut was abandoned, and what little things were left in it looked weathered and dusty. Prince Hans moved inside and put down the pheasant on a wobbly table after dusting it off. Leaving the firewood outside, Saffron followed Oat into the hut. Inside, the Bara prince placed the mushrooms on the desk and turned to the other princess. In some capacity, all 3 of them let out a sigh of relief, now that they'd finally found shelter. Prince Hans sat down on a sparsely cushioned bed and looked like he'd never get up again. Just so you know, I'm claiming this bed for myself. I feel like last night alone shortened my lifespan by at least a month. You can't just claim it, there's 3 of us. Hans melodramatically sprawled out on the bed, keeping aggressive eye contact with Oat.
Oh, but I can.
Fine, whatever. Too tired to deal with your antics. Anyway, we should search a place for anything we can use for our journey.
Good call, but I'm beat. Let me know if you find anything.
Oat looked like he was about to tell Hans to search as well, but quietly turned to Saffron. You'll help me, right?
Of course. There's not much here, so we'll be done in no time.
And with that, the 2 rummaged through the belongings of the hut's previous inhabitants. All in all, they found out a washed-out map, a compass, and a dented frying pan and a silver coin. In the broken cupboard, they also found a few bowls and wooden cutlery that seemed usable. At least for the night. In the remaining drawers was nothing else that caught their eye. Besides, lots of dust, broken and rusted tools, as well as moth-eaten clothes. What was usable to them, the princess tried to salvage. The cabin was fairly sparse, as there was only one room. Or so it appeared when they first entered. During their search, it turned out that what they thought was part of the wall was in fact the door. Took some force to push it open, but behind it was a second room, much smaller than the first. And it made up for its size with a fireplace. It was rustic, but its condition seemed fine, and there were pelts and blankets all over the floor.
Say what? A fireplace? In such a shabby hut? May I revoke my claim on the bed to...
No way, keep the bed. I'd rather take this other room.
But are you sure that...
Yes, just let me have something for once.
Well, alright then. On second thought, I wouldn't want to sleep on a rug on the floor anyway.
Do you always have to put yourself above others?
Naturally. Who else would I be?
As if to interrupt the argument, Prince Saffron's stomach growled, and the others turned silent, noticing their own hunger. A quarrel seemed trivial enough that the princess called a truce. At least until after dinner. Despite exhaustion setting in, the princess decided to make a fire to cook a much-needed dinner. Using what he had learned this morning, Saffron made the fire while the others prepared the food. After Prince Hans gutted the pheasant, under heavy complaints about the bloodiness of the affair, Prince Oat went to the nearby lake to wash the mushrooms. Upon returning, he cut them up next to the other prince, mildly unsettled by his rampant cursing. Once everything was cut into neat little chunks, the princess went outside where Saffron waited, with a nice and warm fire. Using the frying pan they had found in the hut, they roasted the mushrooms and the meat. Although they had not much in terms of seasoning, even just the scent and the sizzling coming from the pan was enough to make their mouths water. They had cleaned the bowls and cutlery they found and brought them to the campfire. Once each prince had taken their share of the food, 3 of them sat down around the fire and heartily dug in. Table manners were long forgotten by then, even by Hans, as they simply savored their hot meal.
Good gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, it even beats the fish we had for breakfast.
By far.
It was only the second day of the journey, but the kinds of meals they were used to already felt so distant they may not even have existed. Being picky was definitely no option, and frankly, they could have had it much worse.
It's great. I don't even mind eating so much meat in a single day. Saffron laughed. Thanks, you two. Speaking of meat, there's more where it came from. Just eat your fill.
I have to say, traveling in a group isn't as bad as I initially thought.
Right? This meal alone redeems all you've put me through.
Excuse me?
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Prince Hans, please. Not to mention that I have to go along with this farce despite already being Sappho's favorite.
Silence came over the princess as they looked at Hans in shock. Wait, what?
She told me right after I arrived. Even mentioned how she couldn't be with someone as immature as you two.
No. That cannot be.
No need to run from the truth. I heard it with my own 2 ears.
But at the ball, she said she liked me more than all the other royals. And in the gardens, she told me how glad she was that it was me who was going to marry her.
I get that you're hurt, but there's no need to lie to yourself, Prince Oat. No, I think he's telling the truth.
Saffron said, just now realizing that something was very, very wrong. Is the princess lying to us? No way.
And what makes you say that, Prince Saffron? The princess told me too, that I'm her favorite.
Now the shock was mirrored on Prince Hans's face.
You've got to be kidding me.
But Prince Saffron only shook his head. Gosh, how could we be so stupid? Of course, she wouldn't like me. Why would she? It was probably all just a joke to her. Like it always is. Oh no, baby. I wish I'd never even come here.
No, calm down, Prince Ode. This is on the princess, not you.
Really? Because all this tells me is that my parents were right all along.
I'm sure she'd like you if she knew you. Forget about her, she's not worth it. I mean, but she probably had her reasons. Yeah, she probably had her reasons. It's mean, but she probably had her reasons to tell all the 3 of us the same thing.
Like what?
I don't know. But why else would she do this? Frankly, I don't care. I've heard enough to know that I'm done with this sham.
Oh, I didn't think they would give up so easily.
First, she springs on us that there are 2 other kingdoms involved in negotiations.
Then we ran into trouble with the law, even got robbed and lost in the forest. All of it solely because she wants some rare flower. And now I have to hear that she even lied to our faces? If it wasn't my responsibility as a crown prince to follow through, I'd drop out right away. Well, good thing my family doesn't expect anything from me. Maybe they'll finally disown me now. Prince Ode said with a desperate laugh that sounded more sad than anything else. I need to cool down. I'm at the lake if anyone needs me. I'm gonna reflect at Reflection Lake.
Well, count me surprised. Who knew he was insecure all along? Maybe I should lay off him for the night. I mean, we're all victims here. Yeah. Well, dinner's over and so is the good mood. I'll go back to the cabin. I need to secure my space before anyone else occupies the bed. Oh, alright. I think I'll stay here for a bit longer.
Unsure how to feel about the sudden revelation and the hurt of his fellow princes, Saffron needed alone time.
Well, you know where to find me when you want some company. But make sure to put out the fire when you leave. I don't want to end up burnt to a crisp in a forest fire.
All alone, Saffron quietly stared into the flames for a while. Had the princess really set them up? Did she not care who she married? Or was there something they weren't aware of yet? Saffron felt conflicted. She had seemed nice enough at first, but was that who she truly was? And Ode looked devastated. Even Hans' bravado seemed like more of a facade than usual. Saffron let out a deep sigh. And just then, a loud thud behind him, as if a rock had fallen to the ground, distracted the prince. He jumped up, scanning the area, but couldn't find anything or anyone. Another sound, almost like a hiss, made Saffron whirl around once again. But he only found darkness. Where previously the fire burned, were only ashes, slowly floating through the air. A cold shiver came over Saffron.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Nobody answered. And so his mind decided to fill in the shadows with apparitions of monsters and bandits.
But Prince Ode? Anyone?
Just as he thought he couldn't get more scared, Saffron could feel someone's breath on his neck.
Yeah!
He screamed and ran off to the lake. Let's go to Ode. The cabin was right there, but his legs took Saffron far past it to the lake, because he knew on its shores was someone who would surely protect him.
But Prince Ode?
He cautiously stammered, not seeing clearly amidst darkness and panic. Beyond the trees, he finally found himself in front of a large body of water, reflecting the bright moon atop, and with a stoic prince reflecting upon the newest revelations. It truly was the Reflection Lake, like I said.
Prince Ode?
Saffron repeated, now a little louder. Ode, who had been sitting in the grass, promptly stood up and looked at Saffron in worry. Prince Saffron, is something the matter? Yes, I wanted to see you, but he wanted alone time, so I'm gonna say the forest is scary.
The campfire went out and the forest is scary. It's so dark. And there was a monster that tried to eat me.
Saffron mumbled hastily, still shivering in shock. A monster? Are you sure you didn't just see a scary shadow?
That too, but I felt its breath on my neck. I thought I was done for.
I see. Well, now that you're here, there's nothing to worry about. Just stay by my side. You're safe here. Saffron nodded, already feeling reassured. For a moment, the two of them just looked at each other, illuminated by the dim moonlight. When Ode sat down again, Saffron followed suit, close to the prince, who didn't seem to mind. You know, it's only been a few months since I first met the princess. My cousin was celebrating his birthday with royals from all over the kingdoms.
You mean Lord Valentine?
Prince Ode looked at Saffron, perplexed by the other's remark. You know him?
I was there. The food was incredible. It had been so long since I last ate some broccoli.
Wait, there was broccoli? Oh. I can't believe that I missed it. But more importantly, if you were there, then you also saw...
So what?
My, performance. I was asked to sing for all the guests. But it left them in a rather foul mood, so I spent most of the evening outside in the gardens.
That was you? So that's why your voice sounded so familiar. It's a shame the others reacted the way they did. But I liked your song. Everything was so pompous. It was like a breath of fresh air to hear someone so down to earth.
Prince Ode's eyes widened at Saffron's words, and the sight of his kind smile. It took him a moment before he was ready to reply. It's funny, but the princess said almost the same thing back then. We met by chance outside and briefly talked. It was then that I fell for her. I was enchanted by her kindness and felt like I had met a kindred spirit. She seemed so detached from the royal world, as if she was above all the pettiness and rivalry. But maybe she also felt like she was above me. Maybe I imagined all that seemed similar between us. I felt like such a fool for charging ahead without thinking, with nothing but her on my mind. I didn't know anything about her aside from the few words we exchanged that night. Now, what am I going to do? I can't complete this journey with good conscience. But some people already call me the disappointment of Bara. Giving up now would only prove them right. Just what am I complaining about right now? It's not like you have it any easier. Princess tricked you too, after all. So what if we love together, okay? You have all the right to feel hurt. I didn't realize it was so tough for you. I'm sorry I can't just say that, but I'm just gonna say that.
So what if we elope together?
Eloped?
You know, abandon the quest, run away on our own.
Well, it would be certain victory for Prince Hans. To be honest, I often dreamed about running away from everything. To just travel the lands without any responsibilities or expectations thrust upon me. It's a naive dream, I know. Friedrich often told me so. But it sounds even better shared with someone else. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to vent all my worries to you. That was such a chill reaction to me saying, let's elope. But okay.
No, don't worry, I'm glad you told me all this. I knew there's a soft side to you, and I'm happy to finally see it. When we were alone, you're much more thoughtful and eloquent than you appear around Hans.
Oh, that. I've noticed it too, but I think there's a reason. It's a little embarrassing, but sometimes I write down my thoughts into poems. And well, since I can only talk to animals when I sing, my conversations with Friedrich are much the same. I was taught not to use too flowery language when I was a kid, but I actually like how it sounds. It still doesn't come to me easily, but maybe all of this shines through when I talk about my feelings. Because I only talk about them through poetry, I mean.
Can I hear one of your poems?
The prince froze up upon hearing this question. Maybe some other time. I don't think I can recite one on top of my head. But in all honesty, I'm glad you're here with me. I'm not used to being on my own with my feelings.
Because of Friedrich?
Yes. Whenever I'm troubled, he lends me an ear. Whether it was conscious or not, Prince Ode's hand moved ever so slightly until his fingers brushed against Saffron's. Blush. So cute. Under mild blushing, they remained silent as they registered the touch. Despite the smallness of this physical connection, it seemed immense. Old coyly smiled at Saffron, who responded just as sheepishly. For a while, the two of them quietly looked at the stars, shining brightly above them. I'm honestly surprised, Prince Saffron. I can't count on one hand how many people I truly feel at ease around. Most see me as strange, and I'm not about to disagree. But it feels so very reaffirming to have someone just accept me as I am. You treat me like I'm just a regular person, and I'm thankful for that. Ode's words made Saffron happy, and inching a little closer, he responded,
Actually, I don't treat everybody like this. I think you're just great just as you are.
Ode softly laughed and moved a little closer to Saffron as well, taking his hand into his own. Just then, from the corner of their eyes, they registered movement. Someone or something was slowly wading into the lake and her lamenting sighs. Probably Hans. As the princess tensed up, they separated and Ode jumped up, his gaze locked onto the figure. Who's there? The only answer was yet another deep sigh, but Ode finally noticed that the figure was human. Prince Hans? What are you doing here? Not reacting to Ode's words, the other prince was now knee-deep in the water, and he relentlessly kept moving forward. Don't kill yourself. Ode felt a knot form in his stomach as he watched this. Prince Hans, please. There must surely be another way. Don't let the prince's lies get to you. The Barat prince rushed towards the shore as Hans took off his shirt. Please answer me. Oh no, he has his earpods in. Now he too was in the water and moved closer to the pale, crouched-down figure. Only the splashes of Ode's approaching steps finally made Hans turn around. Goodness, don't scare me like that. I thought some wild beast had come to feast on me. What are you talking about? I've been shouting my lungs out to get you out of the water. Oh, my apologies. I feel so nauseated. I can barely focus. Are you drunk? Moderately, but that's beside the point. I am here because I have no other choice, so don't try to change my mind. And as I say, there surely must be another way. Don't throw everything away just because of that lying princess. A realization dawned on the Prince of Autumn. Do you think I mean to drown myself? Is that not what? Oh, please! It would take a whole lot more for me to deprive the world of such a magnificent existence. I am merely cleansing myself. But it's cold and dark. And there is pheasant blood all over me. Not to mention all this dirt. I've never felt so filthy. The prince added with a shudder. Although, that is also because I tried removing some of the stains with a spell. So then I thought, no more, and went to submerge myself in his sparkling tides. It must have slipped my mind that you were here as well. And here I was getting all worried for nothing. Now, if you'll excuse me, I was having a moment back there. The words got stuck in the prince's throat as a deep blue glow appeared deep down the lake. What are you doing? Nothing. And if you'd paid attention, you'd know that the glow of my magic is more turquoise than... Enough with the technicalities! What is happening right now? The light grew brighter, and it felt like tremors rippled throughout the whole lake. Ode, already making peace with his impending demise, took a last glance back to the shore. But suddenly everything stopped, and to the surface rose, just where the glow had been, a hat? The princes were speechless, and cautiously, Ode moved his hand closer to the accessory. He didn't know what possessed him to touch it, but he somehow felt drawn to this hat. It was surprisingly dry, given the circumstances. And it looked like it was made only for him. Its colors already made it seem like it was literally cut from the same cloth as his uniform. And the bright red feather was just as noble as it was modest. You don't mean to put this on, do you? Hans asked, still unbelieving of what they'd just witnessed. But it was too late. The head was already in Oat's head. What, are you going to tell me to be careful of trickster fays who want to rob me of my soul?
No, I was just about to say that feathers are so last century, but go off, I guess.
Well, I don't know how it got here, but I'm a little unsettled to be honest. But I like this hat.
Oh, great. Well, if you'll excuse me.
Seemingly happy with the state of his freshly cleaned blouse, Prince Hans unbuckled his belt. Oat took it as a sign to return to the shore before things grew more awkward in the water. As he left the lake, Oat jogged to the prince, who was still waiting where Oat had left him. Prince Saffron, I found a hat!
A hat? And was this really Prince Hans?
Yes, it was just a misunderstanding. He simply came to wash his clothes. But don't you think this hat looks good on me?
It does. It looks almost like it's always been part of your outfit. So, how'd you find it? Did Hans conjure it somehow?
Not actually just emerged from the lake. Huh? Besides, I don't think Hans would ever gift me anything. I feel like he looks down on me. But then again, why wouldn't he? He's a crown prince and always so in control. I'd only heard of him before this journey, but that alone says something. He's already an important figure in the political world of Autumn, while I just... Well, I told you earlier. I can't stand how he treats me, but as a prince, he has my respect. Anyway, what am I saying? Let's forget about him and just enjoy the night. So the two of them stayed at the lake until late into the night. Gradually, they quieted down, just gazing at the stars, but it wasn't a bad kind of silence. Just the other's presence was enough. Their thoughts and feelings were already clear. Further out in the forest, just before the river, the prince's carriage had stopped for the night. Inside, the princess was concentratedly writing into a diary. It was quite a stressful time for her. The future of many lives and kingdoms was at stake, and there was little she could do. At least not directly. Then she felt a familiar presence behind her. The princess put down her pen and turned around.
Sitara, you're finally back.
Yes, my princess. The princess had found shelter in an old hut and just went to sleep.
I see. So, how's the state of the operation?
It appears they have found out about your words of encouragement. From what I could tell, all three of them are quite upset. On the flip side, there have been some interesting developments between some of the princes too.
Oh, do tell.
And don't spare any details. Very well, my princess. Sappho intently listened as Sitara recalled the events she had witnessed from the shadows. Aside from occasional gasps and giggles, Sappho sat quiet while her precious bodyguard talked.
Extinguishing the fire to scare Saffron into the arms of one of the others was a good call. I'm glad you have the judgment and composure to improvise on the spot, Sitara. But all of this is truly interesting. So, Oat and Saffron have shared their inner feelings under the moonlight. Let's keep an eye on the development. This could prove vital to our entire plan. If the two of them stick together, only Hans might pose a problem. It looks like it all might pay off soon, but we can't let our guard down yet, Sitara.
Very well, my princess. I will keep you updated on the situation.
Thank you.
I must ask you though, is it truly an interest that two of the princes fall in love?
Yes, or at least it is one of the possible outcomes of this plan. If they just lose interest in me, that is fine as well. Avoiding this marriage is the top priority. How we get there matters little. Although, if two princes fall in love, it could serve as a precedence for our own marriage. It all depends on what happens over the next few days. I can't thank you enough for all you're doing to make this plan work, Sitara.
It is in my interest as well, my princess.
We are alone now. You can let go of formalities, my dear.
But you will always be my princess, Sappho.
The princess giggled and softly caressed Sitara's cheek.
The bodyguard smiled warmly, but eventually her expression faded when she spoke up again.
I hate to ruin the mood, my princess, but
I have news from the castle as well. Her enthusiasm fading, Sappho sighed and gestured Sitara to go on. Your parents are in the process of preparing the marriage ceremony. They plan to hold it as soon as the princess return and your decision is made.
What, so soon?
Yes, they asked me to invite the parents of the princess and report to them all the while. Of course, I only told them their sons are doing fine, not any more specifics. But all of the kings and queens have now departed to be there for the wedding. This is bad. We have to make sure the princes have abandoned the quest before they return. I can leave immediately and make the preparations for tomorrow.
No, please stay. The most important things have already been taken care of. You've traveled more than enough for one day. Our plan is already hard on you, and now even my parents have to run across kingdoms. You need to rest. All these energy potions can't be good for you.
Well, if it is alright, I'll gladly stay. I've longed to be with you all day.
Me too. Just a few more days, my dear.
Oh. And that concludes the second act. Was it to your liking? I have to say, this was the most thrilling performance of my career. I've never had to improvise so much I thought I'd end up in a dead end every now and then. So, what do you think? Can you involve me in more than just dialogue? What was actually supposed to happen? Can you make it gayer? Can you make it gayer? Huh? Gayer still? I mean, I suppose it's possible. There's always room for more gay. Alright, I'll see what I can do. But there are only so many characters to work with. I'm afraid 2 couples is the most I can manage with a cast. Unless... Anyway, Act 3 is going to be exciting. And complicated. There are a few props where I still don't know how to sensibly use them in our new storyline. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Literally. I'm worried about the scene. But no use worrying you as well. I'll think of something. You wanna help? Well, thanks. I suppose I could turn to you for this, but it ruined the surprise. It's quite the exciting prop, you see. And a dangerous one. Even an angry bear mother will look like a harmless plushie in comparison. I still want to ride a bear. But until then, how would we record our progress? It'd be a shame to lose track of everything that already happened, right? And that was Act 2! We need more gay. It needs to be gayer still. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I love this episode. They're so cute. I mean, I'm warming up a bit towards Hans, but he's still so horny all the time. I just can't be with him. When I started this game, I thought, obviously, I'm gonna make it a poly relationship. Obviously, they're gonna be all 3 of them in a relationship. But Hans hasn't convinced me yet. But Oja definitely has. He's a sweetheart. I love him. He needs to be protected. So, I'm super excited how it's gonna continue. But, oh my god. I gotta figure out when Act 3 is coming out, because there actually is no Act 3 yet. I hope they're still working on this game and haven't abandoned it, or else I will cry. Anyway, I might still play through the Hans route in the meantime, and of course other games. So, if you enjoyed, please do all the things, like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And support the game and the creators if you can. Anyways, see you next time, bye, love you.